Picture this: London, 1888, the city's East End. Specifically, the impoverished district of Whitechapel is shrouded in a thick, grimy fog. Gas lamps cast an eerie glow on the cobblestone streets, and fear hangs in the air like the smoke from the city's countless chimneys. This is the hunting ground of one of history's most infamous and enigmatic figures, Jack the Ripper. For 10 terrifying weeks, from late August to early November, this shadowy killer would stalk the dimly lit alleys and courts of Whitechapel, leaving a trail of brutalized victims and a city paralyzed with panic. Who was Jack the Ripper? To this day, we don't know. The name itself comes from a letter, possibly a hoax, sent to the Central News Agency and signed by someone claiming to be the killer. This mysterious moniker captured the public's imagination and has endured for over a century. The police, newspapers, and locals were flooded with theories. Was he a doctor or a butcher, given the gruesome, surgical precision of his crimes? Was he a wealthy gentleman slumming it in the city's underbelly, or a local lunatic driven by some unknown rage? Over 100 suspects were named over the years, including artists, authors, and even royalty, but no one was ever definitively identified. The mystery of his identity is a huge part of why the legend of Jack the Ripper continues to fascinate us. He was a ghost, a phantom who appeared, wreaked havoc, and then vanished without a trace, leaving London to wonder if he had been caught, died, or simply stopped. So, how did this notorious killer choose his victims? It seems he had a very specific type. The women he targeted were all living in extreme poverty in the slums of Whitechapel. They were struggling to survive day to day, often resorting to selling whatever they could on the street to afford a meal or a bed in one of the area's squalid lodging houses. They were vulnerable, isolated, and their disappearances might not be immediately noticed in the chaotic, overcrowded environment of the East End. These women weren't just random targets. They were part of the fabric of this disparate community. Their names were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. These are known as the Canonical Five. The victims, most experts agree, were killed by the same hand. They were mothers, wives, and daughters whose lives had taken a tragic turn. They lived on the fringes of society, making them easy prey for a predator who knew the labyrinthine streets of Whitechapel like the back of his hand. He hunted at night, usually in the early morning hours on weekends when the streets were both empty and full of people returning from pubs. This chaotic environment provided the perfect cover. He could approach his victims under the guise of being a client, lure them into a secluded courtyard or a dark alleyway, and commit his horrific acts in a matter of minutes. The locations of the murders were all within a 1-mile radius, suggesting the killer had intimate knowledge of the area. Perhaps he lived or worked there. He exploited the very environment his victims were trapped in, using the darkness and desperation of Whitechapel as his accomplices. The story of Jack the Ripper is more than just a chilling true crime tale. It's a stark reminder of the social inequalities of Victorian London and the vulnerability of those left behind by society. The 5 women he murdered were not just statistics. They were individuals with stories, hopes, and fears, whose lives were brutally cut short. The killer's identity may forever be lost to history, but the memory of his victims and the terror he unleashed on the streets of London will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by historical mysteries like this one, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the past. See you next time.